Do you own one of these Roombas? It's cleaning our studio floor right now. The company that made it, iRobot, was started by an immigrant. It's just one of thousands of cool new things we only have because we allowed some skilled entrepreneurs in. And that's why we need to let more foreigners into the U.S., says Gary Shapiro, who heads the Consumer Electronics Association. So your group runs this massive show in Las Vegas where all these tech entrepreneurs show off their stuff, and you can really see the immigrant influence?
Absolutely. There's 3,000 companies that are exhibiting there to 150,000 people from around the world, including 35,000 people from abroad. Many of them are pursuing the American dream. They have an idea, and they know they can expose it worldwide that way and get funding, partnerships, retailers, and media coverage.
And they come here because they want to network in Silicon Valley, and stuff happens here.
Absolutely. I go around the world and I speak, and everyone wants to be like America. Why? Because we're the best innovators in the world. We attract the best and the brightest. That's been our national strategy. Every country should have a strategy on immigration. We've lost ours since September 11th. We've shut off our borders, and it's hurting us.
What do you mean we shut off our borders?
We are discouraging people from coming here. Other countries are getting...
How do we discourage them?
Well, we make it very difficult for students to come here. When they become students here, they get their PhDs, we kick them out. It's a crime almost.
The kicking them out is the weird part, that often we pay for their education in America or help them pay for it. And then, well, I thought we have these H-1B visas where we let high-skilled workers in. 85,000 a year.
Well, we need more because that allocation is filled up in a few days. We also
in a few days.
In a few days, because there's a long line of people. These are specialized jobs that can't be filled by Americans, and that's why companies like Microsoft and others are looking for thousands of people, and that's why they go invest overseas. Between the tax laws and the immigration laws, we're forcing our best companies to hire overseas.
Opponents of expanding this limit say, we have American engineers. They could do these jobs.
We have some, but not all engineers and software people are the same. This is like the difference between the NBA and high school basketball. America is a land where exceptionalism stands out, where we want the best and the brightest. We don't want B students. We want top A from around the world. That's what makes us great. The rest of the world used to come here. Now Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Europe, they're all saying, we're going to go after those best and the brightest students. The National Science Foundation gives $7 billion a year into research in American universities. A lot of that research is done by foreign students in science, technology, engineering, and math. And then what do? We kick them out when they get that PhD. Makes no sense.
On that note, while we do, as he says, give out some of these, there are these quotas that limit the number, and it's so complex, so much so that Canada now is paying for billboards like this one. Have H-1B problems? Pivot to Canada. Canada's immigration boss even went to California to recruit smart workers.
My goodness, they need immigration lawyers just to figure out how to keep their status here while they're trying to start a business and create jobs. We'll give you a green card when you get to Canada. It should take just a few months to process that.
Canada has something called a startup visa, where the applicant, if you get 200,000 from a Canadian venture capitalist, or just 75,000 from a Canadian angel investor group, and if you can speak French or English, you can go to Canada.
That's what they want. Immigrants are job creators when they're highly skilled or they're investors, and that's an important thing to remember. That's how we've grown as a country. We're the most heterogeneous country in the world. It's our diversity, the different points of view that gives us that edge. When we're compared to Asian countries where everyone agrees and thinks alike, they lack innovation. The Chinese, they have a goal of 2.4 patents per 10,000 people, but they're not going to get it.
A 5-year plan?
That's part of their 10-year plan, actually, and that's what they're trying to do. And it's something which doesn't make any sense because what it really takes is a culture, and that's why there's over 200,000...
Culture of argument like we do here at
Absolutely.
Fox Business?
Well, I'll tell you, there's 200,000 Chinese students in the U.S. today, increasingly at younger ages, because they've realized they don't know how to teach kids to innovate. We ask our kids in schools, they ask why or why not. They start lemonade stands.
In America, they ask why or why not.
In America, we do it right. In China, they do it wrong. Our culture is right. Our laws are wrong.
And why 200,000 from a venture capitalist, just 75 from an angel? What's the difference?
It's easier to get venture capital money, I guess, and it's probably a policy where you don't want just people buying people to come here. So it requires a significant investment.
And it's harder now than it used to be for an immigrant to start a business here?
It's harder because so many people want to do it. We've made it much more difficult to get here. We don't treat people as well as we used to. They're not as welcome, and we have competition. and we have higher corporate taxes. We have a lot of things that are working against us in the long term, and we have to change them as a country if we want to succeed, because other countries now are doing what we're doing, and we're not getting the best and the brightest the way we used to. I've seen Harvard PhDs with tears in their eyes. They're being kicked out of the country, and they want to stay here, and they want to hire people, and they want to get jobs. They want to start companies.
But
we shouldn't
kick them out.
We kick them out.
We teach them, then we let them go.
Yes.
Thank you, Gary Shapiro. You can learn more about what he says from this book, The Comeback: How Innovation Will Restore the American Dream. I sure hope the American dream is still there. It doesn't need total restoring, but one way to avoid America's bureaucracy and immigration restrictions might be, this is weird, to start your own country right off America's coast on maybe a cruise ship like this one. My next guests plan to do that.